We know from FEMA data that there are thousands of uninhabitable homes. And combining this with MoSafe assessment data conducted by the building division, we estimate conservatively around 5,000 homes that need significant major home repairs. Perhaps, if I had to say, averaging around 40 to 50,000.
Okay, and are those all homes that were occupied pre-tornado?
Not all, but the number of 5,000 is of impacted homes occupied before the tornado, yes.
Wow, okay, that's a huge gap.
Yeah, I shared with the HUD's committee some time ago an overall assessment of the need and the gap as being, I mean, this is a $1 to $2 billion disaster. And so the true need, recognizing that it's in excess of our available resources, is for home repair in excess of $250 million, and for housing more broadly in excess of $500 million.
Jim, earlier you stated the money it's been slow, and you said that only 4 million at this moment out of the 30 is gone. And as I'm reading some of the barriers, I guess what would you contribute to it being slow and only getting 4 million out? Or now, and to be clear, there are funds being deployed through contracts, but the 4 million that's actually money is gone, what would you add to that slowness?
Part of the spend too is there's a lag. So there's a lag between we select someone, then we go to E&A, and then the contracting process, and we're going to accelerate this, but it takes 30 to 60 days from E&A to get an executed contract, which is not the way it should be. And part of that falls to the recovery office and me. But then once people start working, there's a lag by which point they invoice and you pay them, and that may add another 30 or 60 days.
That anything that is principally used, any land owned by the city that is principally used or held out for use as a park must go to a citywide vote. I think it's important that we do follow the charter and really put this to the people. I also think that helps alleviate us as elected officials from having to do that. So if this bill was doing that, I'd be more likely to vote for it because I think then we would be sending it to the correct body for decision. That being said, I myself remain opposed to selling our public parks. I think it's really important that we preserve our green spaces. Once they're gone, they're very hard to replace. And we have ample evidence that this was laid out as a park. It was created by the LCRA in 1981. They have that authority via state statute, and it was dedicated by Mayor Shamel at that time. So I think that it's very clear that this was held out for use as a park. There's multiple things, including our city plat map, our GIS systems, our city website, a lot of cases that can be made that this is a park subject to that vote.
If you use something long enough, it's been a park. And even though they fenced it in, as the sponsor would talk about, that doesn't make it not be a park anymore. We had the park across from the City Hall fenced in for 3 or 4 years. That didn't stop it from being a park. In fact, City Hall was fenced in, and that didn't stop it from being a park. Interco is a park, and I appreciate the work that was done by the aldermen and the staff from the 9th, and I will continue to vote no for that. And I do not think that we should be selling our parks at all. We need our green space, and that's one of the things that makes St. Louis a great city. I went to an event last night at the Chase Park Plaza where we're talking about celebrating 250 years of the 4th of July in the city, and they're going to have this big place. And we want to celebrate our green space all over the city of St. Louis. Again, I would ask people to think about what we're doing and why is it that we don't want to have an election? Don't we trust that the citizens in our city know if they want to lose a park or not? I think we should have to we should have to submit it to the voters to make sure that they are in line with what we want to do. We get elected. There should be nothing wrong with putting this to an election, except for that we think that we don't want that kind of information about how much money we spent to be out there and then say what we're going to do with it. And we don't want to have to take the chance that the citizens will say no. But those same almost 60-something% that voted no are probably those people going to vote no and bring their friends. And so I don't think this is going to hold up.
We have a city councilor who's willing to step up and fight for us. Also, the register has stated there's not an ordinance on this park. If, now the energy is to make sure out of the several parks that do not have ordinance, we put them into law. I absolutely agree. We should do that, but that's not the issue on this matter, as well as the Parks Department not maintaining this. So with that, Madam President and members of the board, I would ask for your support on this so that this not utilized plaza can be developed for bringing development down into the area, as we're looking also to bring tenants around the surrounding area. And I want to thank